Hi, it's me, Ingrid INFP. And I'm sitting on the top of a mountain, so we're going to just move us a little bit up. There's a lot of sun, which usually isn't a problem for me, but yeah. Let's show you the others. This is the mountain where I usually sit on. Yeah, so I took the opportunity to go out in the sun and walk a little bit barefoot, which is a change for me because just a few days ago it was snowing, so just changing out of my winter coat was a whole thing. So it's nice. It's nice that it's finally feeling a little bit like spring-like. There's a gentle breeze and such, so it's slightly cold, but yeah. So I've been listening to an audiobook of Stendhal, Le Rouge et le Noir. Stendhal was a French writer who was born in my hometown, and so I kept hearing his name being shouted out everywhere, but I never knew that what kind of writing he did. So I finally am there. I'm halfway through the book, through the audiobook, so I'm quite proud of myself for getting through that much of the book in one day. Sorry about the wind. I hope that you can't hear too much of it. Oh well, just try to stop the microphone from getting too affected. So I've been thinking a lot about Vanderpeet's latest video about not being a part of a cult because you don't want to be a part of a group as an INFP. And I think that that's kind of true. Like, you don't want to follow what everybody else is doing, or just being around a group of other people. It's kind of, it goes against what I believe in, you know? Me being an Enneagram 6, though, is a little bit different than being an Enneagram 4 INFP. So it's kind of like I want to be part of a group and belong somewhere and be safe within that group, but at the same time I also want to be my own individual. And that's hard to find that balance, which makes me seem very inconsistent and very contradictory. Because a lot of my bosses and people above me, or people who know me superficially, think that I'll just go with anything, you know, that I am super obedient, that I will follow. I mean, they see that I'll do pretty much whatever people say. Then I guess that they meet my stubbornness, and then they're like, no, okay, this person won't do everything that we say, she's just being stubborn. And then if you start getting even deeper, then you realize, oh, she really is interested in helping people and being a part of a group. But then if you go even deeper, like the people who are closest to me and me, we know that's actually, it's not being a part of a group that is going to make me happy. It's me being able to be myself. But you know, you have to do several layers of discovery of me to figure that out. Because it's there's this dichotomy, and you can't really be both. I mean, obviously everything isn't black and white, but this is kind of either you want to be in a group or you don't. You can't be in this in-between limbo zone, you know? And I realized, like, I've never really been in the in group. I've always been in some other kind of group, maybe like the outsiders group. But it's like I'm not a Sigma male kind of person, you know. I don't go and do want to be alone all the time. But I do enjoy my solitude, you know. It's just that I'm not really self-directed in the way that I guess that a Sigma male or whatever that is would do. I go and dance around, explore around on my own. But it's not like I'm a person on a mission that has some kind of ambition of something that I want to achieve on my own. It's more like I'm just like walking around dancing in the forest and like losing my shoes and like not getting anywhere, you know? So that's kind of how I usually am. And so when I go into a group, I kind of like stumble, you know, I stumble around and I'm like, wait, what is my place? What is my role within this? And usually my role is just like wallflower or like standing there in a corner and thinking that I can be part of a group by just sitting there and like laughing at somebody's jokes. Or like, you know, maybe I'll come into a conversation and I'll start blabbing about something that I love, and then it's like nobody wants to talk to me, and then I'm like, okay. And then I realize, well, everybody wants to talk, but about things that I don't care about. So then and I won't come gently into a conversation in a good way unless somebody invites me in. And I'm so glad for the ISFJs and the ENFJs and the INFJs. And, well, I'm forgetting somebody. No, I'm not, actually. Those are the 3 types that are, like, really inviting me into conversations. ESFJs sometimes, but it's more like they're trying to force me into the conversation rather than, like, you know, invite me into the conversation. But those 3 types that I've talked about, they see me being on my own and they will, you know, have a conversation with me. It kind of, I was also reminded by dear Kristen. She made a video, she makes a video for every type, tier ranking all the other personality types. And I really recommend those. They're really funny. But she made one where it was the ESFJ and deciding what everybody's role at the party is, like, you know, in a tier list format. So the like the best party members and like the ones that will change the vibe of a party, you know. And the INFP ends up with the INTP down at the kids table. Basically, it's like the table for the introverts who cannot socialize with other people and who are better off like talking on their own, having their own silly little conversations, or no conversation, or whatever. Maybe making some kind of crafts in the children's corner, or like reading a book on their own, you know, at the children's table, rather than like participating in the actual life of the party, you know. And so that's for parties. When it comes to other kinds of groups, Vonderpeet mentioned the Cub Scouts. I was never part of the Girl Scouts. I really was really interested in becoming a Girl Scout because my mom had been one and I thought that was pretty cool. But they don't really have that in France unless you're like a really devout member of the Catholic Church, which I wasn't and my family wasn't, so I never became a Girl Scout. So that's why I don't have any kind of skills. I do not know how to light a fire, and I don't think I know how to do anything to survive in the wild. Even though I had read a lot of books about it. I read books about like how to create like a kind of teepee with branches and stuff when I was little. I was really interested in that kind of stuff, but I never put it into practice. So it was like, I theoretically know a lot of stuff, but it doesn't, since I've never tried it before, it's just useless knowledge. But I don't think I do very well in like camps kind of situations, like where everybody's supposed to do the same thing, and you're supposed to act a certain way, and you're supposed to say certain things. I was once at a kind of camp, but it was just a day camp, so you would go there several days during a week. And I just became friends with one person and stuck to that one person the whole time. And that girl got her period for the first time during that week. And I didn't know what a period was. I was like 11 or something, and she was like, "You don't know about periods?" And I was like, "No, I'm 11. She was like, "Well, it can happen." I ended up getting my period at almost 15. So, yeah, so she explained to me all of that. But I don't have many other memories of that camp, except for the fact that they had good snacks, and we did a kind of play. We had to put on a play, and we too created a play where we were pretending that we were eating the food at the cafeteria, which sucked, while the food at the, like, there was a kind of a snack bar, and the snack bar was great, because basically it was just candy. So we put on that play. It was overall a nice experience, but like I don't remember talking to anybody else except for that one girl. So that's my experience of groups, I guess. I've also been in other kinds of. My parents didn't put me in a camp, and I don't know if that was a good thing or a bad thing, because I never really managed to do it. I also was really stubborn when I had. My dad taught me skiing, and I lived in a skiing town, basically, when I grew up. And basically, you learn to ski like before you learn how to ride a bike. And my dad taught me, and since he taught me the way that he learned, so it wasn't maybe the exact way that you're supposed to learn how to ski. Well, all of my friends, they would go to like ski school, and they would do that for like 2 weeks straight, and they would do that every winter. And so they got really good, and they would get little badges, and they would go competitively and do all sorts of that kind of stuff. And so once my parents left me at the ski school, because they thought, well, it would be nice for me to socialize with other kids and to learn more skiing, because my dad, I think, had a business trip or something, so he wanted me to have fun on my holiday. But it was a terrible experience. I basically could not follow the leader, like, there's a slalom kind of thing, where like the teacher goes first, and then one after the other, you're all supposed to go in the same S. Like, you're basically supposed to be in the same tracks as the teacher. You can't do, like, when you do the S's down the slope, you don't, like, if one person goes this way, you don't go the other way down. You just follow their steps. Or their path. And I couldn't do that. And there was a certain point where I passed in front of the teacher, and it was like, "That's not the way you do things here," And I was like, I've never broken a rule in my life. And but it was like, it was so boring. It was so boring to like stay in a queue with these other kids who just hated me, I felt. I don't know. I tried to talk to people and make friends, but as usual, I wasn't really part of the group. So these kids were like used to this. So they were like, "What the hell are you doing?" You know? And I was like, you know, this is the way that I ski. Is that not good? Like, I can ski. Look, I got down the slope, you know? But they were like, no, you're supposed to like follow the exact route of the teacher. And then there were all sorts of exercises that you had to do, like lift one ski and just like ski with only one ski, and then you were supposed to like go on a little hill thing and like kind of jump a little bit, and I was terrified of that, so I just I opted out of that, I think, because I just, you know, I just wanted to have fun my own way, and I was skiing down the slope the way that I felt like, and I didn't want to do it in the way that the teacher wanted me to. So that's the story of how I went to ski school, and my parents never took me there again because, yeah, I did not enjoy it, and my teacher thought I was being rebellious for no reason, when I was like, it wasn't even rebellion, it was just I wanted to do my own thing, you know? I didn't want to be part of the group. And there are all sorts of those kinds of examples, but those were the examples that I was thinking of now. I kind of like build myself a little niche of people in a way, sometimes. For example, at my job, like I became real good friends with nursing assistants, and that way I kind of got the support of everybody at my workplace. Because otherwise it's like hard to get into groups, so you need to find like that one person, and then I stick to that one person. That's my tactic. But sometimes that person gets kind of annoyed that I keep clinging onto them everywhere. But that's the way I've usually managed through life. That's still the way I manage. And I realized also when I did art classes that the art teachers, because my mom brought me there every other week for several years, the art teachers at the museum, it would be €4 for like 4 hours every Wednesday afternoon, well, every other Wednesday afternoon. So they really knew me, like they'd had me classes for years. And so these teachers knew that, like, okay, well, Ingrid just does her own thing. She doesn't like, she won't join in on the group fun, you know. I would play tag and that kind of thing. But sometimes there was like drama going on and I didn't understand what was going on. And then there was like between the other members of this group that were doing art pieces together. And those were the times where I shine, you know? It's not because my voice is loudest in the room, or like because I can like schmooze with different people or be in different situations. It's because people kind of take like they realize I'm a special person, you know? That, like, they take a special attention to me. They see how I function over time, and then I stick to those people. And then in that way I kind of get the safety of like knowing a person there, which is good for my Enneagram 6 fears of not belonging anywhere, at the same time as I can be myself and show my vulnerabilities. Like, these people will be like, oh, Ingrid's just an eccentric, you know, like they were saying this about me age 7 or 8 or whatever. They were like, she's just an eccentric, you know, that's how things all are. But yeah, since then in my adult life I haven't really done a lot of those kinds of group things. I did go last summer, or like when I was at Pride, I didn't really talk to anyone, and so I stuck to my INFJ friend, and in that way I kind of got into the group because he introduced me to like his friends that were there, and in that way I kind of, you know, got accepted as a member there. But it wasn't like I was part of the volunteer group at Pride. There were a lot of weird people, let's just say that. So there are those kinds of examples where I never really got in, despite becoming really friends with one or two people. I also became friends with an ENFJ friend there, who also was very like inclusive, and he could see that I laughed at his jokes and was kind of a kindred spirit, you know. And I think that my INFJ friend also saw that. But you know, all of the other types, like, they just don't get it. But then they're like, oh well, we like this ENFJ, so by association, I guess that we also accept this weird INFP, you know. And at that point, my INFJ friend was much more concerned about being liked by the group. And with time, he ended up developing, like, being more honest with people about his NI ideas. But at first, when I first knew him, he kind of presented as like an ESFJ, ESFP, ENFP, whatever persona. So everybody was like, oh, we love this guy, so here. So it's very nice of these other types to present me to the group. But I know that I'll never be part of it, really, because they're just accepting me by connection. It's not like they found me and they decided, oh, you belong. In the grand scheme of things, I don't. I'm pretty much on the side. And I've always been. And I don't even really know what it would be like to firmly belong in a place. Because I think that even if I did, or if other people thought that I did truly belong, like at my workplace, there would always be this feeling that I'm not exactly like other people, you know? So I'll always be on the outside looking in, even though I maybe am totally accepted by everybody at my workplace and that they feel like I truly belong. Inside, I will always have that feeling of like, no, they don't really know everything that's going on inside of me, so it's not a real sense of belonging. The sense of belonging that I get is often one-on-one with certain specific people, the people that I can be intimate with, you know. And it's hard, you know, because it kind of leads to a lot of imposter syndrome, a lot of that kind of thing, if you don't feel like you belong anywhere. But I think that I found kind of my people in a way. I mean, I find you guys here, and at my work I feel like I pretty much like I belong, even though sometimes I still don't feel like it. And I think that I found friends that are like good friends, but it's not like I have a friend group or, you know, I'm part of an organization. Maybe it will come with time. I'm going to be meeting up with that queer group that I met up with last year, the ones I met at Pride last year, and I haven't been a part of that group really, and so now I'm trying to get back into it because they're going to be doing a gardening weekend, and we're going to be going back to that little house in the countryside, and maybe doing the mushroom picking again and all that, which would be nice. But because I don't live in Stockholm, I'm not really part of that group either. And also, I don't think that I can fully commit myself to a group unless it's been years and years and years, you know? It's hard for me to join a group, and it's hard for me to want to join a group, even if I want to feel like I belong. it's kind of like I'd rather just sit on my own on this mountain and talk about it rather than like actually doing a group activity project, you know. I don't want to be in competition with anyone, and I don't even really want to cooperate with anyone. I just want to be doing my own thing, experiencing my life, you know, and not... Obviously, at a certain point, we need other people to survive and to thrive, you know. So I will be doing that race with my workplace, which kind of is like a team building activity. So that's why my boss like lets us, like, he pays for us to go on this in this race. It kind of promotes our workplace, and also it helps us work in teams, you know. But like, that's not what I was planning to do. I'm not in, like, I know which team I'm in, but I'm just going to be running. Like, I'll just be doing this individual sport on my own because it's an individual sport. I don't care about the other team members. Of course, I want them all to like be well, not die on the track field, you know. But I don't see like how the teams are supposed to support each other in an individual sport. So I guess that we'll pep each other up at the beginning and at the end, and if we end up seeing each other on the way, we'll go, we'll like pat each other on the back or something. But it's, you know, that's why I don't really love team sports much, because I just don't get what's going on. I'm also very unskilled at like balls and stuff. I don't get it. But I do like running. Even though I don't run, if there was a sport I would pick up, it would be running or climbing, because these are individual sports. You know, I don't want to compete face to face against anyone, and I don't want to have to deal with group dynamics. So yeah, it is unfortunate that that I can't really seem to connect in groups. Even when I was online and fandoms and stuff, I didn't really get into collaborations, or, you know, it's rare for me to do collaborations. I only done once, and it's the one with Bondel Pete and Older INFP Insights, which we did this New Year's. But otherwise, I don't really go in. I can't work in teams, or like I can't. Doing things with others is just complicated and feels unnecessary in a lot of cases. But I will do it if I have to, or if the result will be better, you know. And often working in groups is great because you get a lot of any ideas, and that's always exciting. And I like talking to other people, but it's like, you know, I think that I'm not the best team player, you know. It's often something that I'll put on my CV, but it's really a lie, you know. I don't think that a lot of things on my CV are actually like they're very tangentially close to the truth. I don't think that I am good under stress, or that I am a team player, or that I am very like responsible or whatever. All of these adjectives that I've used in my cover letters during the years. I hope my boss does not see this, but I don't think that he cares. He has other things to do, as he's an ENTJ. He has better things to do than to look at MBTI YouTubers on the internet, you know. Also, so there are a lot of things where like groups are not my thing. Anyway, have a great day, everybody. Bye.